with 7 consecutive victories. We welcome in for the 7th consecutive time our Bills team reporter Maddy Glab for what else? The Maddy Awards presented by Energy Mark, the official energy supplier to the Buffalo Bills. It's another week to hand out the hardware, and deservedly so after a 25-point victory.
A lot of hardware to hand out in this one. It was a fun win, a fun team. AFC East champs. Again, let's run it back 5 straight years in a row. So let's hand out some fun awards.
Absolutely. We'll get started. You got to start with the MVP guy.
Okay, MVP, it's Josh Allen. I'm going to continue to bang the drum on why Allen deserves to be this year's MVP. He continues to prove why he's worthy. It's not like we're just sitting up here being like, yeah, Josh has had an okay season. He deserves to be the MVP. No, he's been proving it every single game. He does so against the 49ers in the third quarter. We know what happened. Allen tosses it to Cooper for a loss of 2 yards. Cooper's about to be brought down to the ground. He sees Allen, laterals it to him, and then Allen decides to take it 9 yards into the end zone, dives through the snow to score. It's a receiving touchdown and a passing touchdown for the QB. The athleticism alone on that play was incredible, but what was even better is the fact that Amari Cooper has been here for just a month and a half, and he has the trust in his quarterback to lateral the ball back to him. Why would Allen follow that play? What quarterback would do that? Josh Allen would do that because he never wants a play to be over that he's in charge of. So he follows the ball and is there to grab it and then run it into the end zone. He's the only quarterback to record a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown in the same game. Just absolutely amazing, and continuing to make the case why he deserves to be this year's MVP.
Yeah, and when you do that in a nationally televised game, it only helps raise the profile. Not that people don't know who Josh Allen is at this point in time, but when he does ridiculous things like that, they're like, "Oh, geez, I guess he is the MVP."
It cements that opinion in everybody's mind when they get. Oh yeah, he is playing.
That play in
he
week
is
13?
playing. Well, they can't say, well, I don't know, I didn't see him do anything special in that game, but in this game, it's like, wow, did you see that? Yeah, once again, he does it.
All right, next up, the Fire Starter Award.
The Bills needed a fire starter early in this game. If you recall the first offensive drive, it went 3 and out. San Francisco gets on the field on offense, and they start to move the ball. They get on the board first with a field goal, and you needed a spark from the offense. You needed something to happen, and the rushing offense did exactly that. On their second drive, Ty Johnson picks up 8 yards, then Josh Allen has 7 yards on the ground. Ray Davis has 13 yards on the ground, and it finishes in a 5-yard rushing touchdown by Ray Davis. 220 rushing yards is what the Bills had in the entire game. That's the most rushing yards this offense has had this season. You have no Dalton Kincaid, no Keon Coleman, a snow game where you thought the snow was going to stop at some point. It didn't let up at all, so your plans change of what you can do, of what you want to do, of what you're going to find success doing. And the rushing offense came alive. It's what they leaned on throughout the entire game. And to go into a game like that where, hey, you may think one thing's going to work, but another thing works, kudos to Joe Brady, to the offensive staff, and to the players for sticking with what was working. That's the signs of a really good team, when you can lean on one different facet in every single game. This offense's mantra is everybody eats, and the rushing offense ate last night.
Yeah, primarily because James was cooking. When he cooks, everybody eats too. So, yeah, the run game, huge last night, in a game where throwing the ball on a consistent basis might have proved difficult or a little treacherous in light of the conditions last night, which we haven't mentioned yet today, by the way. Do we remember the original forecast?
Well, the snow was
supposed to be dry and maybe a burst of snow, like a snow squall for 15 minutes. That was the forecast.
That was not so much.
They flipped the coin, and they set up for the kickoff. It starts snowing. It did not stop.
It was crazy.
It got bad for a minute. It got really bad.
There was some talk, and I don't know if there's validity to this, about how the snow squall and the lake effect was coming off of Lake Huron. That's like 300 miles away.
Yeah,
it wasn't coming from Huron. What are these cockamamie excuses for what the heck happened with the weather?
I saw the thing. It was off, whatever. It comes west to east, as we all know.
Yes. But it's
The
off
radar
Lake
last
Erie,
night was coming hard northwest down southeast. So it was coming from the northwest. And the radar showed, it was.
I didn't even know it could do that. How does it
didn't
travel over that much land before
Well,
falling?
It's not that much, but yeah.
And that's your weather report by Steve Tasker.
That was
everybody.
bizarre.
We were looking at it. We had the stuff up on radar. Because we were the same as you. We were like, what is the deal? You know, because usually they get it right. And it shifted, and it was going from hard northwest down to southeast, and it was coming from the north.
I've lived here long enough to know that Western New York weather can change in a minute. It can. But that was...
You guys didn't see the snow machines right outside the stadium?
Yeah,
it was
that
the
was
snow
right.
machines
That was
all
a
game.
severe-
We turned them on.
That was a severe
Just kidding.
curveball we all got thrown last night.
All
Holy
right,
cow.
so now it's the Best Supporting Actor Award.
Best supporting actor going to our offensive line and those who helped block last night. The rushing offense shined. They deserved an award like we just talked about, but this wouldn't have been possible without the help of the offensive line and the wide receivers who blocked. They did a heck of a job blocking in the snow. It's not easy with your footing, with your vision. The snow was coming down hard throughout the entire game. You have two really solid seasons now out of the offensive line, looking back to this year, looking back to last year and this year. That completely changes what an offense can do when you have 5 guys that are great blockers for you. They used Alec Anderson a lot last night as a 6th offensive lineman. That has worked for them all season. I would think it continues as the weather gets colder and they continue to run the ball more. They're such an important group that just allows this offense to completely rip. They rank 2nd in the NFL right now, averaging 29.58 points per game. A lot of that is because of the offensive line.
Yeah, and 30 points or more in the last 6 in a row. It's crazy what they're doing, just churning out points. All right, the Dominator Award.
The Dominator, it's going to defensive end Greg Rousseau. Greg Rousseau had a dominant performance against the 49ers, a sack, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 fumble recovery. He's got an 83-inch wingspan. It is so long, and he showcased that length on his sack, being able to pull Brock Purdy down by his feet. He was physical. He was aggressive in last night's game. The defensive line got after the 49ers and really stifled that run game. They weren't able to get that run game going. Christian McCaffrey obviously gets hurt, goes down, and they had trouble running the ball after that. And part of that is due to the defensive line and the pressure they were putting on the quarterback and those up front. Greg Rousseau now has 15 tackles for loss so far this season. It ties for the 2nd most in the NFL. He's making a case for why he deserves a contract extension.
Yeah, no question about
And
it.
a Pro
New
Bowl nod. How
contract,
about
yeah.
that?
Yeah, and a Pro Bowl nod as well. Yeah, no question about it. He's been a steady force. He's been as consistent a draft pick as the Bills have had under Brandon. I mean, even with Josh. I mean,
Yeah, but he's gone from good to outstanding this
yes,
year.
he really has.
He really has
And
leveled up.
He has been so dependable since his first year, and now he's been here for a minute. Now he's just he's winning the Dominator Award. So it's pretty cool to see.
Ooh.
Now let's get to the fun stuff. The best selling.
The fun stuff.
The best selling, Alec Anderson and Sean McDermott, co-winners. Let's see.
Yeah, I couldn't give it to one and not give it to the other because the celebrations last night throughout the game, after the game, were downright amazing. Alec Anderson, after the Bills score, I can't remember what touchdown it was, but Alec Anderson is partying with his teammates in the end zone. He lifts up his shirt and gives the crowd his belly. It was
Look at
so
my belly.
funny. Look at my belly. He lifts his shirt up and down and up and down. And running right past Alec as Alec is doing this is Spencer Brown with a beer that he's pouring on himself. Total offensive lineman things. I did a podcast interview with Alec Anderson last week. It's now on BuffaloBills.com. If you want to know more about his personality, just his overall vibe, please go watch the podcast or listen to it. It is so funny. He details what it's like to be the 6th offensive lineman, going in and going out, and just why Matthew Smiley, our special teams coordinator, calls him the nicest mean guy you'll ever meet.
Right. That sounds about right.
And then we got to give kudos to Sean McDermott for that celebration, doing snow angels alongside his quarterback, Josh Allen, after the Bills win the game and clinch the AFC East. Sean McDermott is a coach that we love, that we know, but Sean is by the book. He's not gonna run around and show off this big personality, big type of energy. He's a coach. He's locked in. He wants to be the same level all the time for his players, and that's why he's such a great coach. So when you see him doing snow angels on the field after a game, everybody's looking at it and being like, whoa. This man is having some fun, and I loved to see it. This team is so easy to cheer for.
He did it in the middle of a national interview with Scott Van Pelt. I mean, they're on national television on ESPN, and he stops Josh and says, hey, come on, let's do Snow Angels. I mean, the interview's not over yet. He still has the microphone in his hand.
It was epic.
And then Josh trades hats with him and gives him the AFC East champion. In fact, that leads us to the next award, 5th straight title, AFC East.
Take it in. 5 straight AFC East titles for this team. I want you guys to take it in, to savor it, and don't forget this. Back in 2017, when Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane walked through these doors, McDermott was a first-time head coach. Beane was a first-time GM. They're young guys with a hope to turn a franchise around who had a 17-year playoff drought going. Beane drafts the right guys who fit the culture. McDermott gets the most out of his players, and what that turns into is 7 playoff appearances in the 8 years that they've been here, 5 straight AFC East titles. They clinched the division in week 13 with 5 weeks to play. It's the first time doing so since 2009, first time in 15 years. No other team in NFL history has clinched the division more than 1 week prior to playing one of their division rivals for the first time. This is via OptaStats. I was looking for this stat. I was like, when is the last time a team has clinched the division without playing one of their division opponents once? And there it is, the first time in NFL history. This team...
That's more than 1 week.
That's more than 1 week.
Yeah.
This team, this franchise, these players, what's happened here since 2017. I got to walk into this place as a winning team in 2019 when I took the job, and since then it's been so consistent, and it doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, right. 6th straight season of at least 10 wins as well, which is the 6th longest streak in NFL history. All right, we wrap it up with the Welcome Back Award. I feel like we should play the Welcome Back card.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Matt Milano. It was his first game back since that left bicep tear, and his first game back in 13 months. You would think, okay, this guy hasn't played in 13 months. Maybe he's going to be on a pitch count. He might just play a couple snaps here, a couple snaps there. Well, he finishes with 5 total tackles and played in 77% of the game. And it shows just how ready he was for that moment and just how much the coaching staff trusted him to go out there and play in way more than half of the game. He may not have had the biggest impact if you look on the stat sheet, but that's coming. We know what Matt Milano is capable of. We know the accolades that he's gotten, the force, the physicality, the monster from within. It's going to awaken soon enough, and right on time for the end of the season and the playoffs.
Yeah, amen to that.
No kidding. It's huge to get him back, and you could tell right before the first snap, he and Terrell Bernard had a little moment there where before the ball was snapped after he got back, and they were happy to be back in the saddle together.
And what an ovation that he got when he got introduced
That was so
for
cool.
starting lineups.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd was pumped to see 58 back on the field, as all of us were as well. It was really cool to see that, knowing what he's gone through to get back on the field, going a year plus with 2 injuries, not 1, to get back. So happy to see him back, and I think his play will only ascend as we keep going here. He's probably knocking a lot of rust off last night and getting used to the looks and the speed and doing it with poor footing last night in the snowy conditions.
Right.
So
Awesome.
yeah, I think we can only expect him to get better. All right, those are the Maddy Awards presented by Energy Mark, the official energy supplier to the Buffalo Bills.